What's up, you guys? It's another episode of Dynasty Queens. I'm your host, Pamela Nicole, and I've got my beautiful co-host,
Nia J.
So, guys, we have a special guest in the building today. We've got the beautiful Jordan Max. Go ahead and give her a round of applause. Hey, girl, hey, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, dude. Thanks for being here. Hey, so we want to go ahead and let our viewers know a little bit about you. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you do and just a little bit about your background and everything.
So, to put it bluntly, I do porn. Yeah. So, yeah, that's about it. I do porn, and I started about 5 years ago. I got into it because I was previously a stripper for 15 years on and off between other jobs that I had. But then COVID hit and the strip club shut down. So I moved my work online and I kind of ended up here.
Okay. So I just know that there's some kind of juicy story or something behind that. So can you take us all the way back to growing up as a child? Because as far as I did my research, I know that your upbringing was very far and removed from the life of porn. So can you give us a little bit of rundown about your childhood and how you grew up, and how did you, go from that type of childhood to, adult entertainment in general?
Oh yeah. So I'm from a 2-parent family. My parents they've been married for 40 something years. I've got a younger brother. He's 2 years younger than me. Went to Catholic school, kindergarten through 8th grade. So I kind of had that like typical suburban American, like middle class, upbringing. I'm really close with my family, But yeah, so there's that. And then the way I got into it, basically, I turned 18, got a credit card, maxed it out because I didn't know what I was doing. I'm 18. I'm like, this isn't real money. We can party, So, hi, baby. Sorry, I've got a cat. Maxed out the credit card. One of my friends from school was working at a strip club that had just opened in Minneapolis, and they were hiring for bartenders. And she told me to apply, and I applied for the bartending gig. Did that for about 6 months. Paid off my credit card on bartending tips in like 2 months. So like it was crazy. And then like I specifically remember this, like I'll never forget it. It was a blizzard. Like, Minnesota gets really cold. We had like a -10 like degree night. There was a blizzard going on outside. It was a Saturday, and because of the weather, we didn't think anyone would show up. So we weren't too worried about, because a lot of the dancers that night didn't show up. I think we had like 4 dancers, but there were like 10 scheduled. Anyways, it's like 11 o'clock, it's dead. And this party bus rolls up, and it's a bachelor party, just like 10 guys, like all wasted already. And like, we only had 4 dancers. So my manager just comes over to me and he's like, hey, can you go in the back really quick and borrow someone's shoes and get up on stage for us? Like, we really need the help. So I was like, yeah, sure. Okay, I can try. And then I made, like, just dancing that night, I made more money than I did in a week of bartending. So it was like, this is it. I was like, this is what I got to do. Because I was undecided on college. So I was kind of taking a couple years to figure it out. I had to take out student loans and pay my own way. So I was like saving up all my money for that. And like, it's like an 18, 19, 20-year-old. You don't have a lot of bills and responsibilities yet. So I just could really focus on school. So I did that, went to school, moved to Los Angeles, where I'm currently in Los Angeles. I just moved here about 6 weeks ago.
Okay.
Moved back here, I should say. So I moved to Los Angeles, went to fashion school, worked in fashion for about a year out here, moved home to Minneapolis, worked in fashion for about a year out there, decided to go a completely different route, went to massage therapy and aesthetic school, which was super, super rewarding. I loved it. I like working with people. I've always liked working with people. So I just like making people feel good. So that kind of crosses over,
Right.
but in a different way, of course. But so I did that, and then
That's a double-edged sword, baby. It can go either way. But
right, exactly. So did that for a few years, and then just my mom ended up getting diagnosed with cancer, and I was working during the day. My dad was working during the day, so she was home by herself, and that didn't sit right with me. I was like, Mom, you're sick. Like, you need someone with you. So I quit my job at the spa and just picked up the heels and went back to the club. And it's kind of funny. It was kind of wholesome because like I would be at home with my mom all day, like hanging out, watching soap operas, running errands for her. And then my dad would come home from work and we'd all have dinner together. And then I would go to work. And then coming home from work, because my mom she'd have trouble sleeping some nights, she'd be up and she like would have like the tea kettle going and we would have some tea and like talk about my night and stuff like that. So they're really, really open-minded and supportive, which I definitely appreciate. I know like not everyone in this industry has that sort of blessing.
Mm-hmm.
But we do obviously have boundaries, like so it's just kind of more like, how was work? Like, was there anybody cute? Like stuff like, mom stuff.
Yeah.
So, but she beat cancer. She's good now. So she's still with us, which is awesome. She's like my best friend. So, but yeah, that's kind of like a quick rundown.
Yeah, the rundown. So pretty much what you learned over that whole course of what you just explained to us is that there was levels to this shit. There was levels to the game, pretty much.
Yeah.
So when you came in, you were green. You came in with bartending aspirations, did that for a little bit. Were called on stage, grab some heels and get your ass on stage. And that's how you fell into dancing. That is crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane. So that's how you fell into stripping. Then you realize, man, I am making some major money for shaking my tail. And then just the progression. It's like, that's crazy. That's like a Hollywood story.
It really is. So what was your name? Like when you were like, oh, I'm Jordan the bartender. What was your name? Like what was your alias? Like
I've had a few stripper names throughout my career. My first stripper name was Jamie. Because she was my sluttiest friend. So I was like, I'm going to honor you and call myself Jamie. She loved it. It was a joke between us. Yeah. Excuse me. And then so my first stripper name was Jamie. And then when I went back to the club after school and everything, after my other careers, my name was Abby. And then I worked in a club in Santa Barbara and I worked in a club in Las Vegas. I worked in Santa Barbara for a year and I worked in Las Vegas for a year. I would travel back and forth between Minneapolis and the two cities. And my name there was Billy. And now I've just kind of settled on Jordan.
It's kind of like fitting for Vegas. Like,
yeah. No, Vegas was great. It was a hustle for sure. There were so many girls in the club. Like I worked at the Rhino, which is one of the bigger clubs there. Yeah.
I worked in Vegas, so yeah.
I worked at the Minneapolis one, and then I worked at the Santa Barbara one, and I worked at the Vegas one. And the Vegas, it was crazy. Like, it was wild. Like, every single night was like a music video. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. Like, there was just girls everywhere, customers everywhere, just throwing money. Like,
That's the part I'm waiting for. Was there money everywhere? Then yeah.
yeah, definitely. So, so Vegas was super fun. That club is open 24 hours. So
Wow.
yeah, so that's wild. I got lucky and they scheduled me for the Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, like 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. shift, which is like your like classic strip club shift, which was great. But you know, we could stay as long as we wanted. We're independent contractors. So as long as we were there on time, they were totally cool with it. Like, you could stay as long as you want, work as long as you want, just kind of make as much money as you can. So
Hell yeah.
yeah.
Baby at its finest. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Vegas and Spearmint Rhino and, you know, all that. Go ahead and tell us about, of course, the famous AVN Awards and your experience at the AVN Awards in Vegas.
Oh, the AVN Awards. I've been twice now. I started in porn in 2019. So early 2020, before COVID, I went to the expo because I was out in Vegas dancing. I wasn't doing porn quite yet. I was doing independent porn, so like OnlyFans and all of that, but I hadn't signed with an agency and done like the mainstream stuff. But I had, from living in LA before, I had friends in the industry, and just, you know, being a stripper, there's a lot of overlap. So yeah, so I had friends at the expo, so they were like, "Oh, come out, like come hang out with us." And then last year, so I'm trying to think, 2020, what was this year's was the 23. And then, so 22 and 23, I was actually in Vegas for both of those. And they get pretty wild. There is, of course, the expo. So you can go and there's, you know, all the porn stars, all the big companies have their booths with your favorite porn stars. There's like toy companies set up. There's just like anything. There's like like lingerie companies that come in, just anything you can think of. And it's really great. It's super fun to like meet the fans and, you know, meet the people who kind of like keep you going and, you know, are the reason that you're in the place that you're in. It's like really humbling because it's like, oh, like you like me, like, thank you. Like, you know, because I work hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because I work hard and I like put everything I can into my work. So just like being appreciated for it is like really important to me. Like, I'm just really thankful.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. It does. It makes a lot of sense. You know, because like you said, it's a space where there's no judgment. Everybody is in the same field. And then you have your fans that are like, man, they like you for whatever, you know, and you may be helping couples and stuff spice shit up with different scenes and stuff and scenarios and all that. So I'm sure, you know what I mean? So I'm sure people have told you that before.
Yeah, I have some couples on my OnlyFans who I talk to, and they're great. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've had a lot of people just be like, you know, thank you for being so outspoken and unapologetic about what you do. It's like helped me embrace my sexuality. It's, you know, spiced up my relationship. So I really like hearing that too.
Right. I like that.
Yeah.
It's really dope.
Yeah.
Pam, don't you think that's so cool?
That is dope.
People, you know?
Yeah, just, you know, kind of at that perspective, because, you know, you always kind of wonder, like, you know, they go into like different awards and like just like the perspective and like what you go through and everything from different fields. It's not even just from porn. It's just like from talking to anybody really, just like what goes on, you know, on the other side and like everything. So it's really interesting, actually, you know.
What's up, you guys? Your girl Nia J with Dynasty Queens, and we're back again. Are y'all really ready to elevate your handbag game? Well, guess what? We got some super dope Louis Vuitton handbags on sale. All you have to do is click on the handbag you like in the description below and proceed with that beautiful bag straight to checkout. Oh yeah, don't forget to tell them Nia J sent you. Dynasty Queen's gonna have you looking right this summer. That's right. And go back a little bit because we picked up with you working at the last strip club. You were making great money and all that, and then your progression into porn initiation. Because you kind of said that you started off with OnlyFans. So how did you get that chance to sign with an agency? Like how was that presented to you?
So I was recruited because my OnlyFans content got leaked. On like Reddit or something. I don't know, but like it worked out in my favor. So I'm not, it sucks when that happens, but I had an agency reach out to me and they were like, we like your style. We like what you're doing. You have a good social media presence. So if you're interested, they booked for Brazzers, Bang Bros, all of that. So they were like, if you're ever interested in like taking the next step, we'd love to represent you. Yeah.
Yes.
So that was really flattering because like I kind of in the back of my head, like since I was a stripper, thought about porn because like we would have like, feature entertainers, the porn stars would come through and I had some friends like way back, like when we were young, like 20s, early 20s, doing like Suicide Girls and like Razor Dolls and all of that, like internet 1.0 porn,
Yeah.
So
Right.
I was always kind of like intrigued by it, but a little nervous to dip my toes in because like your whole life you're told like it's a permanent decision. Like it's going to be online forever. It's going to be the first thing that people search for or it's going to be the first thing that shows up when people search the internet for you. So I was really hesitant to do it, but then after, like I'm an Aries, so I'm real fiery. I'm like Aries sun, like I've got a lot of Sagittarius in my chart. Like I'm very fiery.
I'm a Sag, so I get you, fire sister. I get you.
Yeah. So I'm just really, so I went and I tried those other career paths. I tried working in fashion. I loved it, but it just wasn't for me at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Loved working in, the health and wellness field. I even like went and got my yoga teacher training certificate. So, cause I was really into that. And then, just decided that wasn't for me either. And then I went back to the club and I just kind of felt like I like belonged there. Like I really get along with everyone that works there. And like, you get to meet a lot of different people. People you work with or customers, just a lot of different people from like a lot of different walks of life.
The networking. Yeah.
Right. And it's never boring. And one of the main things that really drew me like back was being my own boss, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because as an independent contractor, we show up to the club when we want to work. We leave when we want to leave. We're in charge of our own money. We're not on payroll. So you really have to like go out and hustle and earn it, which feels super rewarding too at the end of the day. It's not like, okay, I'm going to like fold these t-shirts for 12 hours and, boss is telling me how much I'm making,
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So just like after working in like those different fields, working in the offices, working in restaurants, working in clothing stores, cosmetic stores, the spa, anything, like, I don't want to say I had a problem with authority, but like that's that Aries in me again. You know what I mean? Like, I just like being my own boss and I like being responsible for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is one thing that really drew me to porn. I was like, okay, like if I'm going to do this, I'm like going to go all in.
Yeah.
Cause there's like no going back. So like at that point I had already decided in my head that I was never going to work like another 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was just done with it. I was like, okay, I'm going to do porn. I'm going to stack my money and then figure it out from there. But like, I know for a fact I'm not going to go work for anybody. So like, nobody can use my past against me.
Yeah.
As
Right.
to not get hired for a job. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a great way to go into the gate, because I did something very similar. I told myself 4 years ago I was never going to work a 9 to 5 again. I have not. But it's like, yeah, when you put that extra pressure on yourself to get shit done, it's going to happen because there's no other option. Or we know in the back of our head there's a plan B, but we don't want to live it out because to me, my plan B is a failure. Even though it exists, it's a failure. That's not the way I wanted shit to go. So so I like how you did that. Okay, so we're here. So you're diving in. You said at first you were afraid to put your toes in. So how did you get your whole ass in? Like what was your first what was your first like scene or role? Was it memorable? Was it like a little awkward for you? Can you walk us through that experience so we can visualize?
Yeah. So my first scene, flew to Florida, Miami. I started in Miami versus Los Angeles because that was where my agent was based out of.
Oh.
And my first scene was for Bang Bros. It was the Bang Bus. If you guys are familiar, it's kind of like everybody. Yeah. So yeah, super fun. It was really like awkward and kind of it was kind of awkward just because like they just kind of throw you in like ass first basically. Like you show up to set, you fill out your paperwork. Like I said, we're independent contractors, so we have a different contract for every scene that we shoot. Mm-hmm. Show them our paperwork. We have to do legal video. They just want to make sure that you're like on record saying that you're not like supposed to be there, or that you're not under the influence of alcohol, drugs, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then you get hair and makeup done, and then you go through wardrobe. Sometimes I'll have props and stuff. Like for my scene for Bang Bus, I was like a surfer girl, and they like picked me up off the side of the road. Like I was walking from the beach back to my hotel. Ooh. So I had like a little surfboard and like a little like one-piece wetsuit, and it was really cute. One thing that was really nice about my first scene was everyone was super kind and super welcoming and really gentle, and it went flawlessly. Like it was great. It was a really great experience for a first scene. And then I met my scene partner, and the crazy thing about about that is you meet your scene partner like 20 minutes before they turn the cameras on.
Dang.
So yeah. So like there's very little time to get to know each other or like build that chemistry. So, sometimes the chemistry comes naturally, like depending on who you're with. Like that's just like true for anybody in any situation. I think. But and then there's other times when it's definitely like an acting job, like, So yeah, some days are harder than others, but for the most part, like for the majority of my career, I've had good days. And it was fun. So after we got everybody together, it was my co-star, it was me, it was the driver, and then the cameraman / director. He was the same guy for this shoot. Yeah. We all just hopped in the van and we drove down, what is that, A1 in Miami, I think. So yeah, and then we did our little scene and we got recognized, which was funny.
You said you got recognized? You said what you said? Like somebody knew you personally?
Me, but they recognized the van. Like we were shooting and they were like, "Hey, Bang Bus!" And we were all
Very about to go down.
yeah, like it was not subtle.
Wow.
But it was super fun. It was a quick shoot. Some shoots take longer than others, depending on, you know, the production value of them and just who you have on cast and crew. So super fun, super quick. I think I was in Miami for 2 weeks and I think I shot like 9 or 10 scenes over 14 days.
Oh, wow.
That first trip was wild. Yeah.
And the money was good?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, definitely. The money was great.
Oh, I love to hear.
Yes. So I always wanted to know. I mean, most people, you know, they watch porn, they don't know like exactly like what goes behind the scenes, how long the scenes take, and everything. Like example, like you got your cream pie like genre, and you have like the ones that's like the BBC pie, and it's like like back to back like cream pie. It's like, let's be real, ladies. Men don't come like that. Like,
right. No, I think I did a scene like that with Jovan Jordan.
mm-hmm.
Or Javon Jordan. And there's like little tricks, like because you can buy like cum looking lube. You know, you can get it on Amazon, so they'll use that a lot, or even just like Cetaphil cleanser, like just to kind of fake it a little bit. But the scenes, like I've been on set anywhere from, you know, 3 hours to 10 hours. Like I've had a 10-hour day. Yeah, depending on the type of scene too, it can definitely take longer. Like if it's more than just like the POV scenes are usually pretty quick because your cameraman is also your director, so your co-star.
Right.
Boy-girl scenes are probably like boy-girl scenes or girl-girl scenes are probably somewhere in the middle. I'll be on set from anywhere from like 4 to 6 hours.
Okay.
Because, well, some scenes we don't have hair or makeup or wardrobe, and we have to provide that ourselves.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so that kind of makes those scenes go faster because, like, you show up to set already, just ready to go. And then I did a scene for Blacked, which is probably my favorite scene I've done in my career. It was with Jack Slayer, and that was my 10-hour day. But they took it was just a boy-girl scene, but it was like we had like pretend little like flashback scenes in the like after, you know. But it was crazy. They had like a storyboard. There, you know, there was like a director's assistant, like producer's assistant, like a PA. There was like 3 or 4 cameras just to get all the angles. And then one thing that's really nice is that because it's mainly like crew is mainly male on these sets. So what a lot of companies have been doing lately is having a talent liaison on set. So generally a woman, just to kind of keep the female talent like comfortable and just to like run things by them before, you know, so they're not kind of like put on the spot, put under pressure to like say yes to something they don't want to say yes to.
Like that.
Yeah. And they just, you know, they bring you your water, they bring you a robe, you know, if you're cold, stuff like that. So it's really nice. But that scene was crazy. Like, first of all, it was 10 hours. But it was at a penthouse downtown LA, like 30 stories up in the air. And the penthouse had its own like private outdoor pool. So we did a scene, like we did like a short, like it was like a flashback. Like we did a scene in the pool. We did a short flashback scene in the shower. We did a short flashback scene on the kitchen table. And yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot, but it was really, really fun.
So honestly, how many hours of that was fucking versus hair and makeup versus whatever, going over the storyboard and all that?
Yeah.
How much of the 10 hours was fucking? I need to know.
Yeah, we probably, okay, I would say most scenes, that scene, we fucked a lot because they needed to get like all the camera angles from, you know. So I would say it was probably about 3 hours out of the 10 was spent like fucking either in the pool to get the shot, the shower, the kitchen table, or the couch. Like,
Right.
so like that's where lube comes in handy. We use a lot of lube, it comes in clutch, definitely.
Right.
And
so these guys just popping Viagra's like left and right to keep getting hard. Like, what are, if you don't mind sharing some secrets that, you know?
Yeah. No, a lot of guys are on either Viagra or Cialis.
Okay.
Yeah, they just pop it, just take it before the scene, and then they're good to go.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Because most of the time, because the directors, the cameramen, they want to get like between 30 and 40 minutes of like usable footage.
Yeah.
So we're fucking for like at least an hour, and it's all different positions, and you're in the positions for like way longer than you would be in real life. Do you know what I mean? And like you've got like your leg up like on the table, or like you've got your leg on their shoulder, and it's fun. It's a challenge.
Oh yeah.
But it's definitely exhausting. So
I would say, like, as far as like, you know, you're fucking all the time, like how does that translate into your personal life? Like if you're dating someone, like do you like still are you able to like really separate it, or is it just kind of like, damn, I really don't want to fuck today because I've been fucking all week, you know what I mean?
No, totally. Yeah, no, I in my personal relationships, I'm like super monogamous. I'm like a one person. Kind of like with my job, like I put my all like into that relationship with that one person.
Yeah.
So I think because I've been doing sex work, you know, stripping, porn, I've done webcamming, I've done phone sex operating, like all of that over the past 15 years, I've gotten really good at compartmentalizing, like not dissociating. So it's not like I zone out when I'm working, but I'm like, okay, like I put my game face on and I do my thing. I go home, I relax, and like, because like, and also like being in the industry for so long, like a lot of people think it would have the opposite effect, but it's really made me like value sex with a partner in a different way.
Okay.
Because like I'm fucking people that I met 20 minutes prior, you know? And so it's not as like it's pleasurable, yes, but it's not as pleasurable as it could be when you're with
somebody.
And obviously you're safe. Everything is, you know, consented to, but it's not the same as when you're with like someone who you're, you know, fully attracted to on all levels, and like who like you. So I still hold sex in my personal life in like a very high regard. I don't do like one night stands anymore. It's just not, it's not satisfying for like it like kind of like eats away at my soul. I'm like, what did I do that for? You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I hold like sex in my personal relationship like in very high regard. It's very important to me to have that chemistry and have and just to like, you know, be on the same page about that sort of stuff.
So do you find it challenging, like to, you know, find yourself in a committed relationship with someone who fully understands, and they may say, oh, okay, I'm cool with it up front, but they can't handle the pressure of your occupation? Like, have you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So when I first started, I had a boyfriend. We were dating for a year, and then I was in Miami for work, and he calls me up, which was weird because he never would call me.
Hmm.
So I like answer the phone. I'm like, hey, is everything okay? Like, you know, is like one of the cats sick? I don't know. But he was like, no, I was just calling to let you know that you're on the front page of Pornhub today. And I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. Like, cause I had only been in the industry for like 3 months at that point.
Oh, wow.
I was like, oh, that's so cool. It's so awesome. It's so exciting. And he was like, yeah, for you, but we're going to have a conversation when you get home. So I was like, okay. I got home. He ended up blowing up and breaking up with me because like he had held all these feelings in.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was like trying to push them down, trying to forget about them. I'm like, no, you need to communicate. Like communication is key, especially with relationships in general, but especially relationships in this industry, because you are dealing with something as intimate as like sharing your body with someone else.
Yeah.
So I have not had a boyfriend since then. I've been on the hunt. I've been looking. It's a little back when I was living in Minneapolis, it was really difficult because like it's Minneapolis. Like nobody, you know, there's like I mean, there's entertainment out there, but like nothing like what I'm doing.
Right.
So I moved to LA. Partially, I moved to LA because the traveling between Minneapolis and LA for work was getting exhausting and expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Like flights are no joke right now. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so partially I moved to LA for work. Partially I moved because it would be like a bigger dating pool to choose from. I kind of felt like my options in Minnesota were pretty limited. They're like a very liberal and progressive city and state, but a lot of people are still very like Midwest values, like you know, like they get married young, they have kids right away,
right,
that's
values and all that stuff.
Yeah, very traditional. Yeah, and that's just never been my vibe.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, I'll come out to LA, and like it's been better dating out here. Because it's just so common. Like everyone I've talked to on the apps have been like, what do you do for work? I'm like, oh, I do porn. They're like, oh, cool. I have a friend who does porn, or like, you know, stuff like that. And it's like more normalized out here.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas back home, I would just get 1,000,001 questions that, you know, weren't always asked in good faith, if that makes sense.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be very challenging for you, but you know, I mean, it's going to take a really strong man to be like, okay, you know what I mean? Because
no,
like
absolutely,
level of intimacy that happens. Like you said, I'm sure, because you said sometimes the chemistry flows naturally, and sometimes it's like, ew.
Yeah, it's like not there. Yeah.
Right. So do you have like a very memorable scene with someone and they left an impression on you, and it kind of transgressed over into a personal situation, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, actually my Bang Bus scene, my first scene, my co-star and I got along really well, and we would hang out outside of work and stuff for a little bit. And then it was actually just 2 years ago, I was in Florida, and like he left the industry for a little while to go focus on other things, and then he came back, and we were hanging out, and it was like October that I was out there, and we were talking about going to Key West together for Christmas. And like we had it all planned out. We were like on our computers looking up hotels down there, Airbnbs, like looking at what's going on in Key West. And then I get home from that trip after he and I like hung out in my hotel for like 3 days straight. Like all my spare time was spent with him.
Yeah.
I get home and I was blocked on everything. No explanation. None.
Wow.
still have not heard from him to this day.
Oh,
But I
wow.
know he's out there because like I've got a burner account on Twitter that I use to like, see what's going on. So like I know he's out there tweeting, but yeah, it was just a really weird experience. But I have a lot of friends in the industry who are in really happy, healthy relationships. Like Cody Steele and Vanna Bardot, like they're like power couple. They're awesome. Kenzie Taylor and Seth Gamble, they're married and they're both directors and performers and they're awesome. And I just totally look up to them and their relationship styles. So yeah.
I love that. I love that you mentioned like that's actually one of my other questions I was going to ask you. As far as like who would you say you admire the most in the industry? Those are great like assets, as far as like people that can make it and have like healthy, strong relationships. But who would you say that you look up to most, like top 3 in the industry?
Top 3 in the industry. Okay, so I obviously do look up to people, but that Aries thing kind of comes to mind, like that Aries head kind of pokes, and sometimes my admiration will turn to envy or jealousy because I'm like, I want to be where they are.
Right.
And I have to like talk like, what's the word? Reevaluate. Yeah, I have to switch it up I have to like switch it up in my brain and be like, okay, like just because they're where you want to be doesn't mean that you won't get there. So right now I really look up to Vanna. I think she's a great performer. She's, Vixen Angel, like contract star. And she's just like the cutest. Like she looks like a little Ariana Grande. She's adorable. I really look up to Kenzie Taylor, like too. I've worked with her. She's great. She's been in the industry for a long time. She does directing and she has her own podcast now and stuff. Nice. So she's like branching out and like into other ventures, which I think is super important. Just to like maximize your income stream, like kind of dip your toes in as much as you can.
Right.
Yeah. And then of course, like Stormy Daniels, like, you can't, that like goes without saying, but yeah. So I just think she's like a really strong, independent woman and she doesn't back down when she's faced with, pressure like that. So I think that's really admirable too.
Right. Definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Jordan, I have to ask some tantalizing questions. We have to spice it up a little bit. It's like a little,
I know.
Okay, so out of your career of 15 years, well, not 15 years in porn, but let's just talk about the porn part then. Okay. Out of your 5 years of being in porn, what is like the best sex you've ever had like during a scene? And then what's like the longest and largest like dick you've ever seen in person before?
Okay. All right. The best sex I've had in a scene was my boy girl scene for Black Raw with Rob Piper and Richard Mann. Just because I love being the center of attention. I love those boy girl scenes. Yeah. So that's just really fun, and you just kind of like let yourself go, and so that was probably the best one. That was really fun too, because it was at we shot in this historic hotel downtown LA. So it was just like a gorgeous set, and we were just like going at it in this like historic hotel. It was so funny. And then And then the biggest, probably when I did my first scene for Black Raw, his name's Anton Harden. I don't know if you're familiar. Yeah, yeah,
I know that.
yeah, yeah,
Pardon, huh?
yeah. And then I actually, I have a scene coming up next week that I'm shooting with Lexington Steele.
Ooh.
So he's a legend.
Yes.
So I'm super excited for that. But yeah, a little nervous, but mostly excited.
You got this, girl.
Right. So you still get nervous like before doing a scene?
Oh yeah, definitely. Just because like, every day is different. Every crew is different. Every scene is different. I mean, so the nerves, like I still get a little nervous, not as nervous as I used to, but I do I definitely have to give myself like a little pep talk, do some like self affirmations in the mirror. Yeah, but it's great.
I love your honesty. Cause with the other question about, who you look up to, you're like, hey, sometimes it may have a little envy mixed in. And you know what? There's something wrong with that. That's called being a fucking human being. So
Yeah.
I like that you're being so transparent with us. It's I love it. Because people really need to see the other side of it. Like, of course, we're going to talk about, when she's on set, this and that, the third. But I like how we were able to kind of get the background view of like, okay, this is the day in the life of an actual porn star who's doing her thing. This is her job.
Yeah.
And the fact that you separate your personal life from that is something else that I'm sure you had to practice over time. But it's just, it's just like, it's crazy, but it's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a challenge, but like, welcome. I've definitely like grown and learned a lot. It's been a great kind of experiment for life for me.
Mm-hmm. And as I you touched on the massage therapy, because it's like everything you've done, it like translates into what you do, because when you're doing therapy with your people, and like Nia, when you're like, because I work in spas too, so it's like when you're in the zone, you're unintentionally turning people on.
Right. No, totally. Yeah.
So it's absolutely with it, what you're doing.
Like everything I've done has kind of led me where I am, which is kind of crazy to think about. Yeah. What's been your favorite like position during a scene, or even like, do you have a different favorite position, like with a partner that you're like in love with and all that stuff, versus like raw raunchy on set? Is there like a difference, like your mood, like what you like, what turns you on?
Yeah, like when I'm with my partner, it sounds corny, but like I really like Missionary because it's just so like you can look at each other's faces and you can like make out, and it's just like sweet and it's fun and it feels good. And then when I'm on set, I definitely like doggy style the best.
I figured you were gonna say that.
Yeah, I like that one the best just because it's like it goes raw. It's like animalistic. It's like it's just like lustful.
You can't go wrong, because even if the dick is not that big, you're gonna feel something like, let's do the doggy style. Like, you can't really go wrong.
Totally.
Don't try to do Missionary with a little wiener. That's just,
right. Not great.
What would you say is harder in your opinion? Because I know we always see those memes on Instagram and socials about you gotta have some strong knees to ride a dick. Is it harder to ride dick vaginally or anally, in your opinion?
Ooh, I don't do much anal. I'm like just starting out on my anal. I do anal in my personal life. Gotcha. I don't do it on camera yet. But it really depends on how you're positioned. But like, I don't know, my quads are always firing when I'm riding. Like when you like squat, like, so it's definitely important to like get in the gym, do that cardio, do some stretching, get the yoga, the Pilates in. But I don't know, right? riding is hard. Like, I don't know. Like, I did a girl scene where I wore a strap on, and I was like, and we had to go at it for like 45 minutes, like straight through. And I was like, okay, like, I give dudes a lot of shit for like not having like stamina or like, not, going as hard as I would like necessarily sometimes. But I'm like, oh, this is hard. Like it was like one of the only times in my life where I like felt sympathy for men, kind of.
Wow.
Like, sorry.
During the strap-on scene.
Yeah.
You put in work, like really, because it's
Yeah, they put in work. It's
Yeah.
definitely appreciated.
Right. I think the best scenes that, people talk about, or, people become actual porn stars or OnlyFans stars, are the ones where they're actually going at it. Like, it looks like it's pleasurable, like they are really giving it their all, and the stamina is there. And, you can tell when it's some chemistry. Like, those are the best type of scenes, I think. So we appreciate, it's work. Like you're explaining
Yeah.
to us, like there is actual work. Like, you need to be physically fit, preferably, are in shape in order to perform your best.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It's a very physical, it's a very mental, like, okay, so like another secret, like, what, how like porn always gets like a bad rap for like bad acting.
Mhm.
We don't get our scripts until we're on set that morning.
That's nuts.
Or the night before. So we have like zero time to prepare. And a lot of times we don't even get lines to read. It's just like a paragraph of like an idea of like how they want the scene to go.
Yeah.
So there's like a lot of improv in it. So it's like, it can be really mental. And of course it can take a toll on you emotionally. So yeah, it's a really, really tough job. And I don't think a lot of people think about it in that way.
Right.
Because we're just entertainers, and we're just trying to like turn you on and get you off. But
Exactly. That's it. People definitely don't understand that part of it.
right.
Like, wow, we are like opening our eyes to the whole like other side of porn. Like,
Right.
it is so appreciated, like what you do.
Thank you.
Somebody
Yeah.
got to do your flowers, girl. Somebody has to, because that's hard work.
It is.
Yeah.
What would you tell a girl that's like, I'm a freak, I want to try this, but I'm scared, I'm shy? Like, what are some words of encouragement that you would give to her?
First of all, I'd first of all, I'd make sure that it's like something that she really wants to do and like knows the consequences of. Like one thing I always tell people is like, think about the worst person you know and how they would react. Like, think about your biggest hater, or like, or like a family member who just thinks you're like super innocent, like your grandma or something,
Yeah.
Think about how they would react, and then think about how you would handle that situation. And then to encourage them, just kind of like let your hair down, like do your thing, be yourself. Just go for it. It's probably been like the best decision of my life, and I wish I had started earlier, honestly. But yeah, I mean, try it at home first, make your own videos for yourself, like see how that feels.
Yeah, get your feet wet,
Yeah, just try it out. Maybe, start a little OnlyFans, or start like a little Twitter, Snapchat, something like that. Just see how it feels before going like all out.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Definitely. Oh, Jordan, you came through and you were shutting it down, sprinkling the nuggets, like really giving us the background, everyday inside story and scoop on what it's like to be a porn star. The work ethic, you mentioning them having a female on set. I really did like that, just to keep, female talent comfortable, and the fact that you said most of the time you felt the welcoming energy from the cast, crew, all that stuff. So that's really good to hear. You know,
Yeah,
women can feel safe and protected because at the end of the day, it is a sex worker job. However, you are empowering yourself because you are in control of what goes on. You're
absolutely.
contributing to everything. So to me, that's a boss type of, situation there. Because
And
you're
it's empowerment too. It's definitely empowering to see, you embrace your sexuality and
right.
you know what I mean? I love
For
Yeah.
that.
sure. Yeah, it's natural. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Everybody does it. So,
We
you
got
know.
here somehow, guys. Like, come on.
Right.
Jordan, if you don't mind actually sharing where people can find you on social media and what is like coming next for you and any handles that you want to share.
Yeah, so you can find all my links just at jordanmax.com, and that's Max with 2 X's. My OnlyFans is on there, my Pornhub's on there, my Twitter's on there, all that. And then, like I said, I'm shooting a scene with Lexington Steel next week. So that'll be out soon. That's for Jules Jordan Studios. And I think I've got 3 or 4 more scenes that I've shot that are just waiting to come out. But we don't really, I don't know. I always find out when like people tag me on Twitter, like, oh, I have a new scene out today. So just, be on the lookout. And I've always got new content on my OnlyFans too. So there's that.
Okay, love to hear it. You guys, make sure you also like and subscribe to the channel, make some comments and stuff, leave some great messages for Jordan. Let us know how you feel if you've watched any of her videos. Let's make it interactive. And once again, thank you so much, Jordan, for stopping by the Dynasty House.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. And in closing, I am your girl, Nia J, with my beautiful co-host,
Pamela Nicole.
and this has been Dynasty Queen.